Hi everyone, welcome to episode 12 of the Shape of My Heart Knitting podcast. I'm Flaminia, a knitter from Rome, Italy, and this is my chowdy outlet to talk about all things knitting, about my knitting projects and my future projects and all of that knitting related stuff that us knitters love to listen to while knitting. And yeah, if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I do really appreciate it. And if you're new, I hope you enjoy what you'll see in this, I think, long video. Long because it's been kinda almost a month since I've last recorded my latest podcast episode. As in the meantime, I uploaded on my channel my fall knitting plants video, and I know some of you really enjoyed watching that and it made me very happy. And if you would like to see it and you haven't watched it yet, I will link it in the description box down below. And honestly, let's just get into the knitting because I'm wearing one of my finished objects, but I'm a bit overheating in this, if I'm a bit honest. So this, as you, I don't know if you know, but this is my finished object of the day, and it is the Darling Cardigan by Kutovakika, which is a Finnish designer, and she's pregnant, and I'm so happy for her. Like, that's sweet, and congrats. And I was so happy to take part in this test knit, and I was so honored to be chosen because, like, yes. And I'm just wearing like a gray camisole underneath. I'm sweating my soul off, so let's go and talk about this baby. I used for this one the recommended yarn, which is basically the first time that I'm knitting a pattern with the recommended yarn, and that was a relief, let me tell you. And I used Borstel Alpaca by Sanniskan, and look how pretty, in the colorway Lilac. I'll stand up to show you how it looks. Here it is. Okay, so it may seem that the like the bottom band is pulling the front up, like, but it's really the way I'm wearing it. Like, if you wear it normally like this, like a usual cardigan, perfect. But I prefer a shorter V with a slightly more opening at the, like, around the collarbone area. This is really warm, and so I'm gonna take it off now that I showed you. Look how pretty. Yes, I'm wearing very ugly sweatpants, but look how pretty and fluffy and amazing. Much better. So this yarn is 96% alpaca, brushed alpaca, and 4% nylon. So it's not like the drops alpaca silk. It doesn't have silk, it has nylon. And it is, how is it? It is a bulky weight yarn. I mean, I knit it on 5mm needles, so I don't know if that's bulky, but it's like definitely like Aran weight, I'd say. And this is how the cardigan looks. Let me talk about the construction a little bit. It's just a simple drop shoulder. You cast on at the back. You increase like every round to shape the trapezoidal back panel. Of course, this is knit flat as it's a cardigan. The new thing that I've never encountered in a pattern before, but it's pretty simple, is that this doesn't have, like, I don't know if you can tell, maybe you can, shaping, like increases to shape the underarms. It's just, you know, leave stitches on hold and just goes into the body and the front. Yeah, you pick up at the front, you knit the front panels, join, the panels, the front panels and the back panels, knit the body flat, knit the ribbing on 3mm needles, and then pick up stitches for the sleeves in the round and knit the sleeves which are slightly tapered, not too much, again with ribbing at the end. And then at the end you pick up the bottom band and you do a double knitted bottom band, which is if you know me, it's like double knitting to whoever invented it. Thank you so much, because look how pretty it looks. And this really looks like store-bought. There was a time in like 2020 when these type of cardigans were like so trendy, and I've never got one. And now I have one, but I made it myself, which is like 100 times better. All the ribbing details are in 2x1 ribbing, so knit 2 row 1, which I've done sometimes, but I really like it in this fluffy yarn. It looks very pretty, and it uses like Rook's stone bind off, something like that. I'll write it on the screen. Of course, I cannot. It would be so good to remember things, but I just don't. But it's basically you thread the yarn. You have like all your stitches on your needle. With a tapestry needle, you thread it into 3 stitches and you drop one off. 3 stitches, you drop one off, 3 stitches, you drop one off until you're done, and that's the repeat. And so let me tell you, it is stretchy and it looks good, and like it is the only sewn bind off which is stretchy that you can really do with 2x1 ribbing, but I prefer my tubular bind off. That's just how it is. Like for this project it's fine and it looks really good, but for my other, I don't think I will be substituting it in my other projects, you know. That's what I'm saying. Why there are mosquito, should be dead. There are no short rows to shape the like the sleeve cup, but it's fine because it is really oversized and the drop shoulder comes really far down. I mean, you know, it comes down enough where you don't need German short rows for it to not like pucker up too much on the underarms. And look how pretty. I went with this lilac color because I fell in love with Kika's version that was bright pink, but I think that this color suits me better than bright pink. And I mean, I love that pink, and maybe it would have looked good on me, but this yarn is pretty expensive. Like one ball is 50 grams. You need 7 for my size. I made size small, like the second size, and you need 7 balls. And at the time when I bought it, I bought it online from an Italian online shop, and I think it was almost $12 a ball, so 12 times 7. I'm not good at doing computation just like this, but I'll write it on the screen. It was almost like 80 euros for a cardigan, which is not the cheapest, let me tell you. But you know, I could have bought like a ton of drops brushed alpaca and hold it like 3 or 4 times together, but you know, I am not planning to get new yarn, and I literally have plans for all the yarn I have in stash, and I thought, if this is the only yarn purchase I make till like the end of the year, that's totally fine. Like, yeah, I did this little treat to myself. I think in the last episode, was this even cast on? No, oh, this wasn't even casted on in my last episode. I showed it I I showed it in my fall knitting plans video. But yeah, it wasn't Casseron. So I finished this cardigan. Yeah, and I basically knitted on this pretty monogamously, as the deadline was pretty, I mean, I had basically like maybe a little bit more than 2 weeks to finish this, so I had to knit pretty monogamously on this, and I had an exam to do in the middle, so that was tough, but we finished in time and even ahead of time, so I was really proud of that. This went by super quickly because it's on 5mm needles, and the only thing is that when I was knitting on this, I like the knitting experience in itself wasn't so good. I mean, it was good. I like the yarn, but knitting, let me explain. Basically, I use metal needles, and my needles are really pointy, and as this yarn is very fluffy, like this is not it's very different from like alpaca boucle, but it's a bit of the same experience when instead of going through the actual stitch, you go into one loop, like the same way my needle was getting stuck in the fluff of the yarn and not into the needle, and so it was, you know, it was not the fastest knit. Like, it was fast to do, but like the experience in itself, I wasn't feeling like I was knitting fast because I felt like I was getting slowed by the needle being caught in the yarn. But I really like the yarn, and it's really fluffy, and it has some guard hairs that, you know, could prickle you, but I'm more sensitive to wool than I am to alpaca, so this is fine enough. Like, it still prickles a little bit, but not unbearably so, like if this was wool. If you're new, yes, my skin is very, very sensitive, but this is not the worst thing in the world, because and that's very important to me, because I really like this and I want to wear it. You know, as you may have noticed, in Rome it's pretty stinking hot still, even if it's autumn. Oh, happy autumn, happy autumn. Like, if it's officially autumn, but the weather is still quite warm, especially now. It's like 3 p.m. in the afternoon, but it's still pretty warm, so I won't be able to wear this with a long sleeve underneath soon. So if I manage to wear this with a camisole, that's good. Also, the new thing that I did for the first time on this cardigan, I used snap buttons instead of normal buttons. So this button band doesn't have like any buttonholes, so you have like snap buttons, but they're really cool because they're just plastic and they're transparent, so even if the cardigan is not closed, you cannot see, like, it doesn't look weird, you know. And they're surprisingly hard to sew on in the like right position, if I'm being honest, okay? But once you do it, it's kind of satisfying. I like the look of the, like, I was contemplating just hacking buttonholes in the button band and just use normal buttons, but I asked my best friend, like, what do you think? Do you think it looks like weird or something? She said, no, I actually really like the buttonless look, and so I was like, let's go for it and let's try it, and I actually like it. So sometimes you just have to try things in order to find out whether you like them or not, which is not a revolutionary thought, but you know, sometimes we just have to be reminded of that. So this is my first finished object. I have another one which is an accessory, and I have another one to show you that's not mine, but I showed it in the previous episode, so maybe you're interested to see. Like, it will be very brief, but either way. The next finished object It's my Oslo hat by testknit. It's done, finished, it fits. The only modification I made was to shorten the body section. Like, let me show you. Basically, with the Oslo hat, you knit the brim double, so it will be like this long, and then you fold it and you knit a little bit more. Then you use like a technique to turn your work and work it on the wrong side, so that, you know, when you fold it, it looks like stockinette everywhere. And I made this part of the hat like 2 centimeters shorter than the recommended, because I prefer just a like tighter fitting beanie, and I'll try to show you how it fits. It's a bit snug, but not too much, honestly. It's completely fine. Oh gosh, curly hair. Yeah, you see, it's a bit snug, but it like covers my ears, and it is a comfortable snug where you think it hugs you. And I think the color looks good on, like, with my complexion and with my hair color, with my eye color. I don't know if this hat will be for me still, but I think it looks really cute. And this was made with an alpaca yarn that's no longer in production, but it was by Lana gatto, which is, I mean, I think it's pretty famous, but it's a Italian yarn company, and my mom had it in stash, so I just used it. And I have a bit left over. I mean, I have a lot left over. I thought this beanie was, you know, going to take up more yarn than it actually did. But I'm happy with the result. And I don't know if I wrote my notes on Ravelry yet for this project, but the only modification really is that I shortened the body of the hat, and the rest was like to pattern. And I think like the fit is perfect. Like, it fits my head so good, like these decreases. I don't know, it's just the right shape for my head. I don't know why I'm so stoked about it, because, you know, it's a pretty famous pattern, and if many people knit it, then it means it's good. And yeah, I don't know when I will be able to wear this with this weather, but, you know, maybe skiing. Just good. It could be prickly because it has these like long alpaca hairs all over it, but you know what, I enjoy this pattern. And I'm gonna show you that I started another one. It's like a deep into the width section, but you know what, it's my podcast, I can do whatever I want. And maybe I'm saying the obvious, but the Oslo hat is a really good all over stockinette project. Duh, I'm not the first person to say that. And basically, I am trying to put the effort to use up my scraps that are not going into the blanket, because they are like bigger size scraps that I want to use for an accessory. And I started another one, and this looks so tiny, but I blocked it, and before blocking it was like uncomfortably tight, where I felt like the blood wasn't circulating in my head anymore for how tight that was. Yes, because I'm a tight knitter as well, because that's just the way we are. And this is using Drops Merino Extra Fine in black, color number 2, which is leftovers from my Marseille sweater that I knitted this time last year. And so yeah, I had like a skein and a half of that, and I ran out of yarn, and I ordered more. Now I really hope one skein is going to be enough. but maybe it will, and if not, I have other similar black yarn, but I wanted this, like the inside of the hat, because you know, now I will do, like this is the brim, I will have to do the inside of the hat that will be in contact with my forehead, and I want it to be this yarn because it's super wash and it's really non-scratchy. And yeah, it's still pretty snug, you know. Okay, no, okay. Looks worse than it actually is. It fits. There is also some extra room, not too much room, but you know, it fits. The modification that I made to this is that I did a provisional cast on at the start of this, because usually you do a long tail cast on and then you pick up stitches and you fold the brim together. But I think that it makes up for a, I don't know, for a bulkier seam, if you can see. And I feel like here it's much smoother. Like when I first put this hat on, I could feel a little bit the seam. With this one, I really cannot. I mean, it still has to be finished, but so far so good. And what I did was, I mean, I was a little bit scared. I did my basically favorite. I mean, I haven't tried many, but I have no desire to try more provisional cast-ons. I used Judy's Magic Cast On, but usually with the other patterns that I made that used this cast on, like my zipper sweater or my Marseille sweater, no, I modified that. I don't remember, but I made these sometime, and with the patterns that I made, they only use it to cast on and then work flat and not work in the round. So I don't know why I thought that this maybe was a bad idea, but I did it anyway, and I'm glad I did because it worked fine. So you can do Judy's Magic Cast On in the round if you want to do it. It's possible. And yep, this is how it's looking like so far. I really like the tight gauge that I'm knitting it at, and it fits. And yeah, I casted on another simple stockinette project because basically in uni I get pretty bored pretty fast, and if I have something to knit on, it's a new discovery that I made, okay? If I have something easy and stockinette to knit on, and if my hands have something to do, I feel like I'm not wasting time and I actually follow the lesson, the professor, and it actually is more interesting. So I'm really looking forward for the yarn, the new yarn for this to arrive, so I can have this to work on during the lectures. And I casted on a pair of gloves, but I'm doing them on magic loop, so it's not, you know, the same flow. And but yeah, let's go back to the finished object. Basically, my mom finished a sweater that I also helped her and explained to her some techniques, but I'm really proud of her, and so I just wanted to show you. This is the moon. I don't remember the name of the sweater and the name of the designer either, but I think it looks really, really good. And also the tension, like, let me tell you, it looked pretty ugly before blocking, but I blocked this like this tonight, and I think it's pretty good. And for my mom, it was her first knitting in the round project on circular needles, because she used to knitting on straight needles, and this has short rows, if you can tell, like the back neck is raised, and I did the short rows for her because I mean I just did. And what else to say? Nothing much. I just wanted to show you because it's really pretty. And also, like, she hasn't seen her by her I mean the sweater. My mom hasn't seen the sweater in real life, and I think that we accidentally picked up different dye lots, but at the same time her sight is not as good as it used to be, of course, but honestly I couldn't see that this color discrepancy. But so maybe it was like a discoloration of just one ball of yarn happened while blocking, because basically in my bathtub where I blocked the sweater there was a lot of like dye inside, like it just shed color a lot. And you see there's like this stripe in the middle of the body that's like weirdly lighter, but I think that you cannot really see it. But I started, recording a video for her to show you the sweater, and there was this big stripe, and I was like, no, I don't want you to see it. But apart from this, I think it looks so nice. And I didn't think I was going to love the shape of this neckline this much. It's not maybe the most practical in the winter, but it shows off the collarbone. And like, I think with my hair up, I mean, it's not my sweater, but my mom has really like short hair, so I think it would like look really elegant on her as well. And it is oversized and big, and it has these like wheat motif on the yoke and on the sleeve. And it was again her first time doing like color work on circular needles and on small circumferences, and you can kind of tell that maybe she didn't do the best work at this, but I think it's decent. Like, the gauge is not too different on the cuff, and yeah, color work on the cuff. And I taught her how to do the I-cord bind off, and she didn't know how to do it, and I explained to her. And I think she did this one because it kind of rolls in a little bit, and she knits quite loosely, so maybe that's the one she did. But I think it looks so good. I don't think this color looks particularly good on me, but I don't know why I'm digging this sweater, and I maybe will make one and also did the tubular bind off for her. And I will maybe have to knit like another one of these for me so we can match, but we will see on that, because I have a colorwork sweater that's about to be in the works. It's still not casted on, but I just need help from a friend, and then I'll just talk to you later. And I'm recording this podcast without any notes, so bear with me if I'm a bit chaotic. But I just, felt the need to sit and talk about my knitting with you guys. So I hope I'm not too annoying. That's really it. Oh, and of course I misplaced my project bags. Okay, here they are. And if you saw again my fall knitting plans video, I made some progress on my on my plans. I casted on one plan and I got decent progress on the other plan. The first one was like one of the mandatory projects that I have to do. I talked about it in that video with the cardigan, the finished cardigan, the testknit. Yeah, that was and it's so difficult to show. It's my father's zipper sweater man, which is like huge, and I'm so done with this project. I mean, I don't know if it probably is, to be fair, an unpopular opinion, but I kind of hate a raglan construction. I much prefer a drop shoulder construction. I don't care if there are more ends to weave in. I don't care if you have to pick up more stitches, because I don't like picking up stitches either. But you know when you cast on a raglan and you're like so happy because it's going so fast, and then you reach the end and you're like, like, I don't know, this is draining my soul, I cannot do it anymore. And then you split for the body and the sleeves and you're like, oh my god, I cannot work on this anymore, I'm so done with it. This is a man large sweater. It was so much work to get to the end of the yoke, let me tell you. And most of the yoke is worked flat, and I only have a pair of 6mm circular needles, and which are like 80 centimeters, maybe 60, but I think 80 centimeters. The stitches were so scrunched up and it was such a pain to work. Like, look how scrunched up they are here, and there are over like 50 stitches on the sleeves. So imagine like these stitches plus 100 plus stitches on this poor set of needles. It was just the worst thing in the world. But I managed, like yesterday night, yes, oh my god, what am I doing? Yesterday night I managed to split for body and sleeves, so at least now I have like the whole body to work. Just simple stockinette without increasing till you're dying kind of thing. And I'm really happy. And what am I doing? Okay. And yeah, what am I doing? I am putting this on barber cords so you can see how huge this thing is. Like, I'm gonna put it on real quick. Like, this is the yoke, and my armpit is here. At the start, I thought, I was scared this was going to be too small. I know my father is bigger than me in size, but how can this be too small, you know? And also I did a mistake and I wasn't willing to go back, and basically I didn't know, but after you join in the round, no, wait, the first mistake was that it wasn't a mistake, like I did it on purpose, I was so done. Basically, you knit the yoke flat till a certain number of stitches and you increase such many times, and I increased one stitch less. So I did one decreased row less, so 2 actual rows less. So this part is like maybe 1 centimeter shorter than it is supposed to be, and the whole yoke is 1 centimeter shorter than it's supposed to be. But when I journeyed around, I for size large, you don't increase. No, for every size, I think. Yeah, you do a camp on raglan, and I think you just increase on the body, not on the sleeves. But I increase on both because I didn't read that properly. So it is pretty big, but like this difference is maybe 1 or 2 stitches. So, you know, I hope this is not going to be too huge on my dad, because oh my god, this is so huge, like oh my god, because he said like, okay, I want it big, but then I want it to be like too drowning big. And I was like, okay. This yarn is Frity's Gone by Sandus Garn, and it is really special yarn. So warm, so rustic, and it's special because I bought it in Scotland when I went with my dad to Scotland. So he picked this yarn himself. I mean, he didn't. We searched, yeah. We managed to find the recommended yarn for the pattern in the Be Inspired Fibers in Edinburgh. And he chose the color. I think the color is so pretty. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, and also on this, you do a Judith Magic cast on and you work flat. So, yeah, you know. And yeah, I think that, I don't know if it's my tension that is particularly good, or if it's just this yarn that is very rustic and kind of hides the tension flaws. But I really like how the fabric is looking so far. And I don't know why, I just never wondered if in this pattern there were short rows. Yes, there are short rows, so if you're wondering. But there are short rows in this pattern. And now I think though I'm going to take a little bit of a break from this project because it's knitted on 6mm needles and I'm a really tight knitter and it's really fatiguing my wrists a little bit. Maybe it is because I pushed knitting on this sweater for the last few days, so my wrists are a bit tired. But yeah, I think I'll take a little break on this until until my wrist feel a little bit better. Yeah, I'm knitting size large and I am on gauge, but I hit gauge going up one whole needle size. So if the body is knitted on 5mm, I think, I'm using 6mm needles because that's how life goes for us tight knitters. And so yeah, now it's just body island for miles, but I think that once I finish this ball I will start one sleeve and then, you know, do the thing. I'm just working on this because I really want it to be finished soon, so I don't have to rush sewing the zipper on and doing anything. This is a gift, so I really don't want to be stressed. So but I think it's almost October, so I think I'm a pretty good point, and from now on it will be very smooth sailing and just stocking it for miles and miles. So it will either be very boring and so I'll drag it till the end, or it will be very mindless and I will very much enjoy it. We will see how that goes. But I casted on one of my plants. I did. Am I rushing? It's like only like 37 minutes. I don't know. But I casted on one of the patterns that I showed in my fall knitting plans, and it is a cardigan, another cardigan, and it is the Late Summer Wrap by Pernille Larsen, but it is available on the Knitting for Olive website, and it is a wrap cardigan. You cannot see anything, but it is a saddle shoulder construction, and it is my first time doing a saddle shoulder construction. And like in general, the construction of this is pretty new to me. So with a pretty provisional cast on, I don't know why I cannot talk today. With a provisional cast on, you cast on here like the mid back, and you work this length of the bottom band separately, and then you kind of pick up stitches on this side, and then you keep like, and then you start like shaping the saddles, and then after you finish the saddles you start shaping the sleeve cup, and so far so good. And the only thing is, sometimes, I don't know if it's me, it's probably me, but I think I have to tell you, sometimes this pattern was a bit confusing. Like when you work one piece of the bottom band and that's fine, then you pick up the live stitches on this, and I don't know if it's a modification or if I just understood wrong the instructions, but I just knitted this part just symmetrically to the other one, while the pattern was saying like that you had to like slip stitches and do some weird things. You're probably thinking that I'm crazy if you don't own the pattern, but if you will ever like have the pattern, that was confusing. And also, of course, there will be a seam in the back, even if there is a provisional cast on, because the provisional cast on offsets the stitches by like half a stitch, so it's not totally seamless, but it's fine to me. And yeah, so it's not the bottom band, but strap, the thing that goes along the front of the cardigan, is just worked together with the cardigan on the same needle size, which is pretty handy. So I don't know yet where the smaller, needle size is involved at, like at what point of the pattern, but we'll find out, I think. And it is a ribbed bottom band, which is my first time doing. And yeah, it's a V-neck wrap cardigan, so you just keep increasing at the front to shape it. And this is pretty close fitting, so I don't think I'm very far from finishing the yoke. But yeah, we be working on this and we be enjoying very much the fabric. If you look at this, you may think that it's very even, and it is before blocking. So I'm very happy with the tension with this yarn. But the only problem, the yarn is again like discontinued Lana gatto yarn, is called ottocapi, which means 8-ply, and it is kind of a sport weight yarn that I'm holding double, and I went up a needle size and I somehow got gauge, so don't ask. But it works, and it is dense, definitely dense. If you have seen a picture of this cardigan, it calls for one strand of their merino and one strand of their silk mohair, so it's pretty hairy and like loose, and I really like the look of it, but I'm super sensitive to mohair, so that was not an option for me, being this skin tight, this cardigan. And what else? The only problem is that this yarn is really super wash, like you can feel it's like super bouncy and soft, and there's like no itch factor. The only problem is I mean, I'm a tight knitter, so if you're a tight knitter, if you're a loose knitter, you probably don't, but to move the stitches along the needle, like on your left needle when you're knitting, you push your stitches on top of it, but if you knit tightly, you have to put like more friction onto them, and this causes more pilling to the yarn as you're knitting it, because of course you're like maneuvering it a lot, and it just peels more, and this is already pilling, and I already like picked off some pills. I don't know if you will be able to see what I mean. Yeah, you can see like right here, as at first I had to put a lot of pressure onto it. Like look already here around the saddles, it's already like on the back, it's not that bad, but it's already pilling. And it's not something I mind particularly, but it's something to mention for sure. This was flying off my hands. And yeah, this is how it is going so far. So the pattern is clear, but you know what the problem is? The layout. I think it has so many sections that are called in a very similar way, which are completely different parts. Like here you have like the setup of the saddle shoulder, here you have the saddle shoulder, and then you have the shaping of the front and the saddle shoulder, and then you have, I don't remember, I'm just saying stuff, but it is like they're very similar sections which are called in very similar ways, but they're done very differently, because this is all done with increases, but of course in different parts and in different rates. So if you get confused on which part you're on and you don't realize, it's kind of a mess, if you know what I mean. And so yeah, this is how it is looking so far, and I think that's it. I mean, it's not it. That's it for this cardigan. In this project, I'll just talked about him very briefly. I casted on a pair of self-drafted penny gloves inspired gloves, and just them. I'm using some leftovers that I had from a sweater that I knitted for my brother. I designed that knitted for my brother last year. Yes, like during January, and it was done on like 100% recycled cashmere. No, it's 97% recycled cashmere and 3% recycled wool. And I have like this amount plus this whole ball, so I didn't want this to go into my excavation blanket. You know, this is like cashmere. I don't know how much it costs, but it's not cheap, even though it is like secondhand cashmere. Let's say it's recycled. But yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with this. I knit this during university classes. I don't know where I'm going with this. That is just some random thing I cast it on just to have more projects on the needles that I have to work on, you know? Because we are like this. Come on. Okay, now I would really want to talk to you about a project that I kinda not spoilered in my founding plans video, and I swatched for it. So basically I said that I really wanted to do a colorwork sweater, but I talked about some options, but none of them really like sparked like this is the right one for the yarn colors and yarn choice I have. I don't know. And so I was, it's like, yeah, maybe I won't get around to it. Maybe it's going to be a winter project with new yarn. But I think I finally found the one. I wanted to cast it on like this morning, but I had to ask some assistance with the sizes. And basically what happened is that I saw the finished Baroque Nouveau sweater that I don't remember the designer. I think it's the same. Is it the same for my mom's sweater? I am not sure. But that my knitting pal Amanda from the Crafting Sparrow made, and that was it was like breathtakingly gorgeous, like drop dead gorgeous. Was amazing. It fit her so well, and the color work was wow. And see, like I'm being moved by this project. It was just so amazing. And if I had that exact like yarn combination that she used, like I don't know about the yarn itself, but the colors, like they're really my colors. It was like dark, like a medium gray, and either a lighter gray or like a white-ish gray, something like that. Oh my god, it was amazing. So I went to the Ravelry page of that pattern and I saw, oh, how nice, this called for light fingering weight yarn. And you might think, oh, then you're not doing it because like you're crazy. Why do a colorwork sweater that is that complex with light fingering weight yarn? The only thing is that the yarn I wanted to use for a colorwork sweater, it's light fingering weight yarn. And I'm talking about my woolly knit cones. Yes, I put needles in these for because I wanted to cast on, but basically I love the fit on Amanda so much that I asked her like how much positive ease it has on her so I can pick the size accordingly. But she says that she's going to let me know. She's super sweet, so she's going to let me know. And like because she has to double check something that I don't actually remember. But if you're watching, Amanda, thank you so much for the assistant. I do really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to cast on that. I want to use these like jewel toned, like I don't know if you can see that from there, but it has some like it's a dual petroleum color, I would tell, like greenish blue. It has some blue, like it is really a petroleum that is made up of a mix of a really bright saturated green and a really saturated blue. The background color, And this, which is a bit marble as well, it is a gray, but it's made up of, let me have my face so maybe this will, yes, okay, made up of, it's a 2-ply, and 1-ply it's a medium gray, and 1-ply it's a lighter gray, or a white even, like a cream, I don't know. It's gorgeous. The only thing is that I haven't used any of these yarn. These are full cones. As you may see, one looks bigger than the other, I think, because in this there are less spinning oil than in this, and this blooms so much. But at the same time, if I want to use this as the contrast color and I want the color work to pop, yes, this will be the dominant strand in my stranded color work, but if this is much thinner than this, then it's going to be less poppy than I want it to be. So I swatched for it and I think it's fine. Like I just did like little random hearts, and I worked this flat, so the dominance in my color work is not as great, so maybe it's a bit weird, but wow, like this is 28 stitch gauge, so I will be maybe I will be dying like I'm saying now, but I think it will be so worth it. Like after the last fingering weight sweater that I did, that for like not the actual knitting, but the whole project took like 5 months to complete. I think I thought I would be very scared, okay, to knit something like this, but I think I am really craving like some complex color work, because I just did one like a color work yoke, which was still on like DK yarn on 3.5 millimeter needles, so it was for my like third sweater was a pretty big commitment, let's say. I don't know if that words exist, but I don't know, commitment exists. It was a pretty big commitment back then, and I think this will be the time. I think this will be the time, and I cannot wait. I really cannot wait. I'll start today or tomorrow, and I think it's a 28 stitch gauge, and it uses 2 needle sizes, which I don't have. So no, I have 3.25 but I don't have 2.75. So as I'm a tight knitter anyway, I went up to 3 and 3.5 millimeters for the body, and so the swatch that I made, and I think that will be good. I mean, that will be good, but you know, as I know I'm a tight knitter, I preventively went up a needle size, and it worked magic. So yeah, I prepared the needles, but I am waiting for a bit of help and support, but I'm so excited. And also, if I manage to finish in a decent time, we can match with Amanda, so perfect. As usual, I have no yarn acquisitions because, guys, we are knitting from stash. This fall is going to be knitted from stash. And if you want to knit from stash as well and you feel tempted, feel free to like text me and ask me help and support, and I'll help you too. Yeah, because we all have wonderful yarn that is waiting for us in our stash and really deserves to be used. And so the podcast recommendation for today is very special. I say this every time, but I really like the podcasts I recommend. They're like really my favorites, and I really like them. So it is Elisa, my friend, I would say, from the like on Instagram and on YouTube as well. She's at Elisa Knitting Stories, and she's an Italian knitter like me, but she lives, I think, in the Milan area, so we don't live that near. But basically she had to write her thesis and stuff, and so she came to Rome to visit some museums, and we managed to meet up for picnicking. That is how her boyfriend called our little meetup picnicking, because we did a picnic, but we knitted during the picnic, so picnicking is fabulous. We had so much fun. She's such a wonderful person, and I think we bonded on like many topics. And we went to a museum, like the National Gallery of Modern Art in Rome, which is so beautiful. And I really love art as well, but you know, she studies art, so she's on a higher level than me, of course. But I think we really enjoyed that museum date we had as well. And the picnicking was so fun, and yeah, we kind of got matching bracelets, and I kind of wonder if she snapped hers or she kept it. If I know she's watching, so Elisa, if you're watching, did you like snap the bracelet or do you still have it? But either way, like she has she doesn't have like such a different style from me, but I would say that her style is really academia core, light academia core. That's her style, and she really likes like all the knitwear. Gregoria fibers is like totally her vibe, and like neutral colors and greens and blues, maybe grays. Am I making it up? But she really knits on wonderful projects, and we are matching because we're both like making an Oslo hat, and we are making a zipper sweater man, a zipper sweater like, and we didn't like plan that, so that was cool. So if you want very cool light academia core knitwear, she's the one. Let me tell you, she's the one. So go check her out. I think you would really enjoy her. And also I managed to meet up with a knitter that lives here in Rome. And motorcycle, can you please stop? Thank you. That lives here in Rome. And if you see like people from the northern countries meeting up with knitting friends that live like in the same city as them, I'm like so jealous. But here in Rome, people my age don't really knit. I mean, maybe some they crochet, but like they maybe like crochet like one hat, and that's really it. It's not like they're crafters, but they're not as obsessive as us knitting community, if you know what I mean. And basically this girl, she reached out to me and said like, hi, hello, I just started watching your podcast, and wow, you're from Rome, like I thought I was the only one, blah blah. And I was so stoked, like yeah, I was stoked. And I just said her like casually, like if like we want to meet up in the future for like a big knitting, that would be fun. And she said like, oh yeah, no, next week I'm free. I'm like, okay girl, let's do it next week. And we met up, and we were working on the same project, like literally the zipper sweater, man, the same size, and that was cool. And so yeah, many people are actually knitting on the zipper sweater right now. Also knits, and the one of the copy dolls, I don't remember if Kahila or Kalila, but yes, a lot of zipper sweaters in the making this time of year. And I feel like it's a cycle. Usually many people knit on zipper sweaters during like autumn and winter, like in the last part of the year, like on the autumn part of the year, because that's usually what people knit for their male significant others for Christmas. It's a really popular design for that. Design for that. Pattern for that. So yeah. And a bit of life update if you're up for it. If you're not, I hope I'll see you in the next episode. But basically, yeah, I started university again. I passed the last exam from last year that I didn't manage to do, and passed with a quite high grade, so I'm happy about that. And what else? I started dancing again, which is crazy. If you haven't been here for that long, in February, like mid-February, I broke my foot dancing. I do ballet, and so I had to rest for a lot of time, but now time came to go for it again. And let me tell you, I'm struggling because it's not that muscularly I'm that weak that I cannot manage to do stuff, but my foot hurt, and so I know that I don't have to put much pressure on that foot, so I use the other one more, and as I use the other one more than it should, the other one also hurts. But either way, I need 2 feet to dance, to do things properly, so it's a bit annoying, let me tell you. It's not that I don't have the stamina anymore or the muscles anymore, it's that that's really annoying. If just one part of your body hurts but the rest wants to do stuff. But yeah, I think I'll be doing it 4 times a week, on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, once every 2 times a month. So yep, once every 2 weeks. So, and what else? Life. I'm enjoying life right now. I think it's pretty complete. I'm not missing anything, and I'm really relaxed, and I'm feeling happy, and I've not felt like this in quite a while. And of course the knitting is helping, but also the relationships with the people that I know in real life, they're pretty much helping. I have amazing friends, and I'm making amazing deep connections, and I'm really happy about that. And we reached the end of this episode, and that was so long, even though I was scared. I was rushing through my projects. I love to ramble on and on, so I hope I was not too boring. And if you managed to, first of all, if you sticked around since I broke my foot, leave a the emoji of the ballet shoes in the comments. I think that would be so nice to see if there is actually someone that has sticked around since that time, February. And thank you if you did, and thank you if you're still here and this was the first episode you're watching, because I think I was a little bit all over the place, but it is fine. I kind of went more with the flow in this episode, and I enjoyed it because sometimes when I'm editing, I go and I think by the end I'm kind of tired and kind of all over the place. But I think that this more flowy format helped me keeping the interest in what I was saying. So I don't know if you have a thought on that, let me know, because I love hearing their helpful feedbacks from you. And as always, let me know what you were knitting on during this episode, because I really loved reading those comments. And thank you so much. And if you'd like to see more from me, consider subscribe to not miss on future content. But it's totally fine if you don't. And I really wish you health, happy knitting, that you're spending time with great people in your life. I think that's really important, to be surrounded by people that care about you and people that make you feel like you're enough and that you're fine the way you are. I think that's really beautiful. So I really hope that for you, and I hope hope I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!